Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Liberation Lab. It's late tonight. Um, your girl had a busy day. She had a busy day today, full of meetings, but I did not forget that we are still doing Monday night Liberation Lab. Woo! I learned all the buttons. I know everyone's so proud of me. How are you doing today? How's your soul doing? How you feeling? How's life been treating you? What's been going on with you? Uh, we know life is lifing and everything is going on in life, so we have to take moments for ourselves just to kind of breathe. So, are you breathing? Are you breathing in a way where you can go each day? Are you keeping your hope alive? What's going on with you each and every day? I'm going to play a little music here just because I like the music. Um, Makes me feel good. We're gonna play a little music. So this week, this Sunday, I preach the work from within. Reality, folks, is because life has been life in the way that it has, with everything going on in the news. Okay, this music a little too much for me. With everything going on in the news, with everything happening in the world, have you noticed yourself becoming cruel, becoming very mean, spirited? Really not having a space where you feel just joy a lot of times. But do you feel like you've just gotten cruel? You become hugely judgmental. You know, you seeing folks now that you're looking at, you're saying, who are you? Where they come from? You're questioning every movement, and you got to watch what you say. Or you saying things that you realize you probably wouldn't have said a couple years from now, but now you're consistently saying them. If we haven't noticed, this world's really, really becoming very cruel. And the catch is some of us are as well. So, sermon this week was the work within, which is really talking about working on our heart posture. How are we moving in the world? Are we moving with a sense of joy? Are we moving with a sense of cruelty? Now, granted, we understand in life that there are moments where we have to be kind, but we don't have to be nice. But have we gotten to a place in this nation, in your home, in your life, where you've now gotten cruel? So I took the church on a journey. We went to Psalms 51, where we found David. And David was sitting there. And if you know any parts of the story of David, David wrote the psalm because he had done some cruel things. Um, as I'm on the internet, let me make sure I say it properly. He seen Bathsheba, said, "Girl, you look good," and then decided that he wanted to be with her. Problem is that Bathsheba didn't want to be with David, and also she was married. David did not care, so he decided to have unconsented relations with her. Then attempted to kill her husband when he did not have consented relations with her in order to hide the fact that he had gotten her pregnant. So his homeboy Nathan shows up and he's like, "Oh, let me tell you a story." Nathan tells him this story, and in the midst of this story, Nathan talks about an unjustness that had occurred. And David gets upset, mad. King David wants to banish the people. He's angry. And Nathan pauses him and reads him for filth, basically telling him, "This you, bruh. This what you just did. So before you try to kill everybody else, how funny is it? I find it funny that this was you." So it took us to Psalm 51, verse 10 through 12. Those were the verses that we ended up looking at. And as we sat to go over it, there was really this question of, what does your heart look like? Like, there's questions with David during that time before all of that happened. Like, what did your heart look like that made you do that? What were some of the decisions that were made prior to that moment? You just couldn't have seen this girl and said, "I'm gonna take advantage of her." But the fact that, you had a heart posture, bro, to the point where you was like, "And now I got to kill your husband to hide the stuff that I did." So he was living in this consistent, like, Clearly, there's something else going wrong. But there's this dichotomy he sits in because this King David, the King David folks love and shout over and do all the good things. This is King David. And you hear so much about King David and all the goodness of David. We love these Psalms. We go through all of that. But this man was clearly flawed, and beyond flawed, he had moments where his heart was not faced towards Christ. His heart wasn't for God. His heart wasn't for God's people. And while we like to talk about and compare him to killing Goliath and doing all the great things that he did, the problem is there were seasons in his life where he struggled. And Psalm 51 is literally a writing of God, I'm struggling. I recognize, and it's a confession of him saying, I am struggling in this moment because of the things that I have done. So he says in verse 10, create in me a clean heart. Most of you all have heard this song before. He says, create in me a clean heart. The joy of knowing about this text is that the word create is not the create that we know, but it's a connection to the Genesis 1 creation. So it's clearly make my heart from scratch. That at this point, he realized he had gone so far that he could not be the same person that he was before. God, create in me something brand new. And really, when we sit and look at that, is what are some things in our life that we need God to create in us? Not God, fix it. Not Lord, I can't take it no more. But God, can you create something new in me? I need you to pull something from scratch for you, for the goodness of you, to serve you and your people. But God, I need you to create, in this case, a clean heart. I need you to create something pure within my body. David was very much recognizing that he is tormented. And well, if we're honest, some of us can also get to that place that after you hear about Project 25, you heard the big nasty bill, you've heard you dealing with folks at your job, you still going to church every Sunday, you still praising the Lord, you still doing all the things, but all of that is happening while you're being tormented. Sitting in this level of I can shout at church, but when I get home, I'm sad and I'm depressed, or I pretend to be this in this space, but then I change and I'm not that in another space. So we have this moment in the text where David is like, I can't keep being two different people. I can't keep compartmentalizing who I am. And that's a struggle that many of us face, that we've learned to compartmentalize our spirituality with our trauma. So I can pray, I can do all my spiritual disciplines, but I won't acknowledge that I'm having a traumatic experience. I'll brush it off, as we call it, spiritual bypass, and it's okay, the Lord gonna work it out. While that may be true, have you worked it out? And many times we like to bypass it over to God without stopping and saying, what are the places that I need worked out? How did I get here? Have you ever had something happen to you and you ain't asked, how did I get here? What happened to me in this world? How did I get in this situation? How did my life become this kind of way? What occurred that now this is my life? And some things are circumstances we can't help, and some of them are very much circumstances that we can. And when asking that question, we finally get to sit in a space where we say, okay, God, I'm the problem, clearly. So David gets there and says, so create, come make from scratch me a pure heart. And he says that, and he goes on to say, he says in the whole scriptures, and put a new and right spirit within me. But then he goes and says, don't cast me away from your presence. And the reason why this part is very important is because David has seen what had happened to Saul. He was very familiar when God's presence had pulled away. So we have this moment where he's saying, first of all, create something brand new in me, because I'm so messed up that I need something all the way new, because I see what happens when you start moving in a space when you leave, when your presence leaves me, God. And I wonder how many of us really can stand in a place to say, don't cast your presence from me. Have you ever considered that? That there is an option that God can remove God's presence from you. I don't even think we consider that. I don't consider that those preachers and evangelists and folks who love the Lord, that your anointing can be removed away from you because of your heart posture. That all the things that you believe people love you and you done laid hands and shana nod everybody can get taken away from you simply because you don't have a clean heart. Oh, I'm blessed and highly favored. That can disappear if you keep cutting up. So, not recognizing that not having a clean heart, a pure heart, and a heart posture, not only for God, but for God's people, can turn around and cause you to say, "Ooh, Lord, don't cast away your presence from me." So, we find David in this space of saying, "Don't cast your presence away from me." I pause in this moment because we all know the SNAP benefit situation. We're aware that there is a huge war on Black and Brown people. And within understanding that, many times some of us sit in what we call the spiritual pathology of privilege and comfort. Now, this spiritual pathology has hit some of us in a way that I don't think we've recognized. But this pathology causes us to want to watch the news, and I can't believe they're doing that, but then not give money to the homeless man. It causes us not to have any real action, but we pretend to be outraged. We pretended to do all these things. But when it's time to get to work done, when it's time for us to actually do something, then we find ourselves like, ooh, so sorry he homeless. So sorry. We don't want to reach and do something. That's just in our sphere of influence. Many times we're like, I agree. Ain't nobody asking you to build a food pantry. Nobody's asking you to go outside and build houses. But can you recognize that there may be something you can do in this moment when you see someone instead of being at home? Or keep your mouth off them folks who getting snapped. Because you won one legislative bill away from it. So before we start talking about people and their situations and all of that, we have to get to a place where where's your heart at? And David is writing and calling out to God in this moment saying, "Get my heart together, because I know what happens when I'm not right and what God you can do." And this is a moment in our nation where we need people who have a heart posture of Christ. That we need people who have the ability to look beyond themselves, to get out of their pathology of privilege and comfort, and say, I've got to get uncomfortable in this season because this is a season where all hands are on deck, and I cannot be the hand sitting on a deck, but that I have to be a hand doing the work, whatever that work is. Because what I don't want to happen is for God to cast me aside because I wasn't willing to help those who are in need, or to help the person that I've seen. So here's a catch. This won't be a long. It's only three verses. The sermon wasn't long. So then we get to the third verse that says, "Restore to me the joy of my salvation." For those of us who were Christian kind of later in life, do you remember when you first became a Christian, how excited you are? You kept your Bible, you read it every day, you did all the things consistently. Couldn't nobody tell you nothing about your Jesus because you were excited to be with Christ. You were excited to have joy. You were excited. Listen, you were ready to help everybody. You were ready to pray for everybody. There's an excitement and a joy that happens. And I wonder, with the way life been lifing, have you lost your joy? Do you have the ability to still be joyful? And not, I go outside and I boots on the ground and I'm good, but truly an interior joy, an internal joy that no one can take away from you, that no circumstance can change, that I will still have joy, because joy is a weapon. Joy is a form of resistance. Joy is your strength and the way in which you can move in this world. If you woke up every day without joy, or if you are waking up without joy, I urge you to find your joy, because right now you need all the joy you can get. And joy, restoring the joy does not take away the fact that you still need a clean heart. So I like that David didn't start with restore my joy and then give me a clean heart, but first clean my heart, Lord, and then restore my joy. Because clearly, so for some of us, our hearts got tainted simply because life happened, disappointment happened, betrayal happened, Wounds happened. Trials and tribulations, as we say, occurred in our lives, and our heart became dark. We stopped trusting people. We stopped loving on people. We stopped caring about people. We stopped loving on ourselves. We stopped caring about ourselves. And because that happened throughout life, our heart hardened. In a season where it's easier to be cruel these days, it is very easy to be cruel, that we have to stop, especially as Christians, or shall I say people of the way, because it's all kind of Christians right now. People of the way, the folks who follow Jesus Christ and the teachings of Jesus Christ, can now have the ability to say, oh, my heart ain't right. Give me a clean heart. And you may have to say that every day. That may be your mantra for the rest of the week. Lord, give me a clean heart because I'm about to cuss this person out. Lord, give me a clean heart because I got some thoughts I know I shouldn't be thinking. Lord, I know this thought isn't of you. I know this move I'm about to make, this behavior I'm about to do, none of that is of you. So Lord, give me a clean heart. And I think when we walk in that daily, then we'll see something change and transform within us. We'll get our joy back. Even in moments of pain and heartbreak, a moment of joy can ease some of that pain. It's not ignoring what you're going through. And what I love about it is he ends the verse 13 with saying, and sustain in me a willing spirit. So literally he said, and don't take it back. Restore the joy and let me keep that thing because I don't want to get rid of it. There's a recognition there that David understands that I got to hold on to my joy because the joy is a ticket of my life. The joy is what will sustain me throughout my life. So the question that I would ask or pose is, do you still have your joy? Because if you don't have your joy, then your heart is all messed up. And if you don't have your joy, find little things throughout life to give you that joy. Start looking for ways to get your joy back. You got to have joy in this season. This is a crazy season of life. So you got to have joy. And here's a catch, right? When you have joy, it's infectious. So that joy gets passed on to other people. So people want to be around you because you're joyful. You don't want to be the one in this season who always got a complaint, who always got to worry, who always go get you a therapist. You want to be the one that when you walk in the room, people want to see you. People love to be around you. That is where that's when people know that you are living with Christ. Not every time you see me, it's a I'm life is terrible. Is it because you woke up this morning? You went to work. You might even got a bite to eat. And if you didn't go to work, you alive. So however life is hitting you, keep your joy. Because, sometimes you got to get like David. Lord, I messed up. I did a lot of crazy things. But if you can just make me a new person. So if this is your season of saying, Lord, make me a new person, be a new person. Let God transform you and create in you a pureness that you can grow from. But if you're saying, I got a clean heart, I'm good, then maybe you don't have joy. Maybe you're a person who's been working, you've been organizing, you've been praying over folks, you've been doing all the work, but do you still have your joy? Can you still find peace daily? Don't let these situations of life take us out because we're unhappy and we're uncomfortable. The nation's gonna nation. The executive team gonna do what the executive team gonna do, but we still have the right, we still have the ability, and we still have a God who still wants us to have joy. So keep your joy. Create in yourself Lord, create in me a clean heart so that I can serve you. I think that's part of the song. That ain't part of the scripture. But part of the song says, so that I can serve you. So know that your clean heart ain't just for you. It's for your generation. It's for your community. It's for a list of things. A list of people who are calling on you or who are attached to your calling. So tonight, if you need joy, find your joy. You know what you can start? You can start with wonder. I've learned this new spiritual discipline of wonder, and I love every moment of it. A childlike wonder, or butterflies. You would see a butterfly or a fly, and if you were little, you remember you were inquisitive about it. It excited you. Find the little things in life that still excite you. The sun rising, the sun setting, the rocks on the ground. Find something that says, dang, God, you did that. You created that. Then I know my problem is not as big as I think it is. That if you can do that, I know what else you can do. But have your wonder. Let God shock you today. Let God shock you tomorrow. Just be shocked. Be in awe of the Lord. But most importantly, keep your joy. So, y'all, it's late. I probably need to go to bed. But I want to make sure we did our liberation lab tonight. So I pray that everyone is well. I pray everyone breathes. Everyone finds their joy. And if you don't have joy, first ask God to cleanse your heart, create something new within you, so that God does not have to cast God's face away from you, but that you can get restoration and become a new person and be able to live the life that you were called to live. So God bless y'all. God keep y'all. I love y'all. Have a good night. Bye. As soon as I can find the buy button.